Thomas Hidden Church called you magical when I interviewed him last year.
He did?
Yep, and that was before he was the Sandman.
Tommy.
Could you give us a story about doing that film?
About Thomas?
About doing the film in general.
Well, I know that those guys were so not into drinking at all, and definitely not into wine at all. And Sandra and I were, so like, come on, you guys, we're gonna go wine tasting, and they're like, nah. And but I just remember when I read it, I didn't really see that it was that funny. It didn't read that funny. Like, you knew that there was humor in it, kind of like about Schmidt. But when I arrived and I saw Thomas and Paul working together, and they were like the dynamic duo of comedy, I went, oh, wow. This is way funnier. This is a totally different movie than I thought it would be. So that was one of the biggest surprises, was the two of them and how they worked together.
And I feel the single-handedly popularized Pinot Noir.
Yes, it did.
At the same time, Paul was single-handedly destroying the Merlot industry.
I know. I know. I kind of feel bad, but I'm sorry. There's some wonderful Merlots, but I do prefer Pinot. And
Your nomination? Were you
and a lot of those winemakers are my friends, so I'm like, go Pinot, yes. It really made their business. So.
Were you surprised by your nomination? In a good way?
Yes, I'm surprised by getting the job in the first place, but I think all of us were, especially Sandra and I think we felt like we were sort of the catalyst, for the change in the story, and we were very much in supporting roles. And I think we all felt that Alexander would get a lot of critical acclaim. Alexander and Jim Taylor would, probably maybe win something for their writing, because it was an art house film, and we knew very early on that we were making a really good film, but none of us knew it would catch on the way it did, and then go all the way. None of us thought that. So it was just as it built momentum, you were like, wow, something really, really big is happening. And then we went to the Golden Globes, and all of us were like, okay. It was just that red carpet, I think, was when it really started to hit home that this was a blockbuster.
Do you think it's time for the Oscars to expand the animated portion of the awards and start doing things for voice actors?
I wish they would expand the Oscars for animation and for musical comedy, or at least for comedy. I think there should be a separate category, because it goes back to, when they compared Tootsie and Gandhi for best film. It's and we was Sideways and $1 Million Baby. It was. That was a really difficult choice. That was an amazing film. But I feel like the dramas seem to carry more weight with the Academy, and I'm a member of the Academy, and maybe it's just you feel more blown away by it or something, I don't know, but I think it would allow, if they had a comedy category, it would allow more films to come in, and if there was more of a more room for not just the Disney Pixar, but if there were, and there's the animated short category, and what I'd like to know is, where can we see the animated films? We need more theaters, we need more venues where animation can be shown to. The awards are great. Big awards, that's an award season, that's a wonderful thing, but it's really like the everydayness of the Cineplex and, an animation network, other than Cartoon Network, which is great, especially when you get the retro stuff. Or I think that's more Nickelodeon, where they have the Boomerang.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd like to see a network that really allowed for all, made a home for animation on all levels, especially the newer, like, experimental stuff. I think that would be really helpful.
Is there I'll let you get your question in a second. What do you have? You've obviously done a lot of interviews over the years. Do you ever is there ever like one question like everybody asks you, you had to answer like 1,000 times and you wish you just had a record that you could just play the answer to because you answered it so many times?
Well, it depends on who's asking it. There's a lot of those questions that are asked because it's the subject matter of the film, or it's my past history, or something about Sideways. But it's everyone tries to pose the question in their own original way. So I feel like then I can answer the question in my own original way and try and change it up. So sometimes it's a challenge, especially when you're doing a junket. It's a challenge. I look at it as a challenge as an actor to be like, okay, ready, go. See how many times I can say it differently.
Yeah.
And so I it's enjoyable for me, and fortunately I like meeting people, so it's almost like speed dating in a way. But it's never tiresome for me, and it's only, I think, when someone's more offensive that's boring to me. It's really when they want to ask a question that I can't even think of one in particular, but when they think it's going to be a real thinger, that's boring to me. It's a waste of time in the junket.
Here's my zinger. Could you tell us about doing Star Trek as the hot alien on Enterprise, please?
Well, my friend and I, my best friend's an actress named Rusty Schwimmer, and we sort of have this contest that it's like, be on your favorite show. So that year, Rusty did One Life to Live. She did just one scene in One Life to Live because we have friends of ours are on that show. And then I actually had my agent. There was a time when I wasn't working barely at all, and I just asked my agent to call because I was a huge fan of that show since I was a little girl, and I was like, I have to be on it. So they said yes, and I said, okay, but here's the thing. I can't wear any kind of like pig nose thing. I can't
No
do
full
that.
forehead,
No,
no,
I'm not
yeah.
going to do. I can't do the. It has to be the Botoxed alien if I'm gonna. No, I just said I want to be. It may be conceited, but I want to be old school, beautiful alien like Kirk would have encountered. And they were like into that, so they were like, great, we have this script coming up, and the great thing about that script is I got to have the double Vulcaneer. I got to, some of the scenes that were cut out, I got to go into a Jeffries tube. I got to beam in and beam out. I had a phaser. I got shot by a phaser. I had my own quarters. I also went to sickbay.
Wow.
And
You hit the
I had a
cycle.
love scene with Chakotay.
Oh.
So I got to do like all the Star Trek things. It was really cool. Yeah.
In one sitting. Excellent. And you didn't keep the outfit or anything?
No, they wouldn't let me keep anything, although I stole my little...
Communicator?
No,
comm
not
badge.
the communicator, but the little triangle, because I got a uniform at one point, and it was just Velcroed on, so I stole
Comm badge.
I stole the comm badge.
All right, folks, I'm pulling her away.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Beaming
Honored to
you
meet you.
out. I'm bringing you Lauren Montgomery.